I'm prepared.
This is Penn Sunday School, and to our listening ears, angels sings and round us rings the music of the spheres.
Here we go.
Sunday School.
Brothers, sisters, siblings, and Larry Latouf, welcome to Penn Sunday School starring Penn Jillette. My name is Michael Godot. Matt, Freddie Rich, Penn and I are broadcasting from our separate homes in Las Vegas. This week, we'll cover some more Godot camping adventures. Penn and Teller have been locked down for 2 weeks, and Matt is training to become an election worker. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Jillette.
Yes, I am preaching love. Boy, my living situation is crazy. So I was staying at this house that we're rehearsing in. And just so you know, if you're a big Penn and Teller fan and Penn and Teller asked to use your house to rehearse in, say no.
Anybody asked to use your house to rehearse in, say no.
Yeah.
Movie shoot? Oh, forget it.
Yeah, movie shoots you don't want. No, we were actually very, very careful. We did rummage through their first aid kit because I had damage. And those who have followed my history with my genitals,
Yeah.
many of the people that our listeners follow my genital adventures.
Yes.
As you know, I dropped my penis in a blow dryer.
Right.
I also crushed my testicles in a between a hasp of a box. When I sat on it, my testicles flung in, the scrotum skin got caught, and I was sitting on a box with the full weight of my body on my scrotum, and I couldn't lift up because the scrotum was attached to the box by my weight. And it was like one of those Chinese finger trappers, except with my scrotum and on stage in front of 1,200 people. And I did the ad lib that Jonesy thinks is the funniest ad lib any human being has ever made. When I said, oh, I've injured myself. And then I, like a turtle on a fence post, I bucked around and finally got myself out. We're doing a trick in the show that is a liquid air show, liquid nitrogen. We're doing a liquid nitrogen show, and then during it we have magic. There's magic in it. So some of it's real demo, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when we wanted to do a liquid air show 20 years ago on Letterman, 25 years ago, we didn't know how to get a hold of liquid nitrogen. Now we know it's like welding supplies or something. Well, no, we don't know.
It's Nate. Nate knows exactly where to go.
I just want to say, be clear, for those short on attention span, we are still on Penn's genital adventures right now, right? You haven't changed the subject. Okay.
We all know how I dropped my dick into a blow dryer. We all know how I trapped my scrotum in a box.
You didn't even bring up the bee sting story.
Right. We all know that all my skin peeled off my scrotum when I was stung 25 times by bees as part of a TV special. I have had many genital adventures in my life. Many.
Almost. This show was almost called Penn's Genital Adventures instead of
PGA. But it was already taken with the Professional Golf Association. So and this story amazed Alan Alda. Alan Alda is the kind of guy who is amazed easily. Not jaded, that Alan Alda, not jaded at all. Things rush over him. Wow, it's a cauliflower. That would be something that would amaze Alan Alda. I called Richard Feynman and said, we need to get some liquid nitrogen. And he said, Penn, I'm a theoretical physicist. I don't touch things. He said, I've worked with liquid nitrogen since junior high. And I said, you're the only physicist I know. He said, let me take some calls. And an hour later, a professor teaching at a junior college in Brooklyn called me and said, I know this is a prank. I don't know how it plays out. A Nobel Prize winner just called me cold and told me to call Penn of Penn and Teller about going on Letterman. I said, correct. He said, what's the joke? I said, there is no joke. He said, why would a Nobel Prize winner call me? I said, do you know about liquid nitrogen? He said, yes. I said, okay, that's the reason. So then we started working with him, and he said, physicists are kind of the wild guys in a college. We do all sorts of crazy stuff with liquid nitrogen. He told us stuff and said, do not do this. And that was what I did on Letterman. He said, do not take your dewar and put a cork in it hard because it will explode. And I put a cork in it so hard, it blew up to the ceiling at Letterman and took out a light. Very proud of myself. So we decided to do the liquid nitrogen air show, a new version for this season to fool us. So Nate scored us a dewar of liquid nitrogen, and we monkeyed with it. We had forgotten how Cavalier one could be with liquid nitrogen. So I watched some liquid air shows on YouTube, and I came into the meeting saying to Teller, we got to be crazier with it. Just dump it all over the place. Let it splash. Let it steam. It looks great. Teller said, okay, you first. Now, what you should know about me, and for those following Penn's genital adventures, you should already know this about me. I dress in gym shorts of the lightest material possible with no underwear, always. That's what I wear. I free ball in light polyester. There is no gentle fabric hand holding my genitals. They just bounce around under light fabric. I became very cavalier with the liquid nitrogen, and it splashed extensively onto my gym shorts. And they're lurking under my gym shorts, even touching my gym shorts, was my cock and balls, which happily seemed to reach out to receive liquid nitrogen. I got to tell you something. I woke up. Just a little tiny bit of frostbite on your cock and balls makes you very alert.
So that coffee you were complaining about not getting last week, this solved that problem?
So you're developing a new alarm clock now.
Well, I only drink decaf, and I will tell you, it made me go from very cavalier with the liquid nitrogen to very cavalier a distance in front of me with the liquid nitrogen, but watching out very carefully for splashback. I'll also tell you, Godot, I didn't get any copy for the ads.
I just sent those to you just now. Sorry.
Okay. I'll get them somehow.
They'll be there.
Okay. Good. Speaking of ads, if you sign up for Patreon, you won't get any ads.
Yeah, that's true.
And how do you do that? Why did we say the name of that guy?
Larry Latouf.
Yeah, so there's
Latouf, which I just want you to know in French means Larry the Tooth.
Yeah. So at the top of the show, if you go to the highest tier at patreon.com/Penn, patreon.com/Penn, you can get one of those popular celebrity videos that everybody's getting all celebrities to do from Penn. You can also ask a question to us.
I did one of those.
Yes.
And the guy who asked me to do it asked me to do such a sweet one.
It really was
It was
sweet.
just fun.
I felt weird watching it because I was like, this wasn't for me. It's for him. But
It was very, very personal. He asked me to just say nice things about Teller.
yeah,
And obviously I've been working with Teller for 45 years, and I love him as much as anybody. And I think he is the greatest partner and the greatest magical mind and one of the best performers alive today. He is completely trustworthy. When he says he's going to do something, you can take that to the bank. He does everything he says he's going to do. And he's hardworking and he's perfect. And when I talk about him, I always put some sort of twist on the end because you got to for comedy. I can't be sappy. But this guy allowed me to just be sappy. It was very, very sweet.
yes, it's a beautiful video. Yeah, you get a personal video from Penn. You can ask us stuff on air, which Peter declined. So he just wanted the video, and he liked hearing his name at the top of the show.
Was that a bigger challenge than say something nice about Trump's administration?
It was not. It was much easier. And there's also lower tiers, like tiers, like $5.
Yeah, $5. You get ad-free episodes, access to the entire back catalog. We're actually going to construct a password-protected website, so you can just, without it clogging up your RSS feed, you get exclusive RSS feed, which different things can come out. If Penn writes stuff, like for an article or a poem or whatever, you get access to that, and that's all for the lower tier, the $5 tier. $20 you get thanked on air, and you'll get a thank you postcard signed by Penn. As well.
I'll also tell you, there is no threat. I do not make money on Penn Sunday School. As a matter of fact, I lose money. And it was seen as a loss leader to advertise the Penn and Teller Show Live. There is no Penn and Teller Show Live. So now it's a loss leader leading loss. But if no one signs up for Patreon at patreon.com/Penn, if no one does, I'll keep doing it because I like it. So there's no threat at all. None.
That's a good thing.
But that breakdown of information about the lost leader and no advertising Penn and Teller show did create the meeting with me and Glenn to create this Patreon. That's a fact.
Did do that.
The world is a funny place.
So we spent 2 weeks, and we are in. I don't believe in jinxes, but I shouldn't say this. We're in pretty good shape for this season. It is so strange running tricks without people assisting.
Yeah. And
pick up stuff.
Also for no people as well.
Yeah. And we just set up the camera and do it and then send it to the producers and they give us comments.
Nice.
Boy, crowd was quiet.
You sure that's going to be funny?
I mean,
yeah.
You and Teller have your 40, almost 45 years of experience together. For magicians out there who are just trying to develop new material in their garage or their living room or wherever, and knowing they can't do any live shows,
we were doing that same thing in someone else's garage and living room.
Is that the key?
Yeah, success means you can rent someone else's garage.
I mean, it's just so hard to have a compass on if you're accomplishing magic or not in those small environments. But
yeah, you get sentences that would never be said in front of other people.
Yeah.
Like Teller saying, "You playing tambourine on this bit, Penn? That's genius." That's a great idea, Penn. Where'd you get that? That is such a good idea. You should play tambourine on this.
That would go down differently, at regular.
If there were any sort of governor, yeah. But I'll be playing tambourine.
Wow.
You'll be,
and I'll be talking about the population of Gainesville, Florida. These are things you can look forward to in this season of Foolish.
I actually have never felt my faith more reaffirmed. Those two random statements definitely sounds like you're making Penn and Teller stuff.
We are. Talking about the population of Gainesville, Florida, and I will be playing tambourine. Okay. And we're plate spinning. And we also, did I talk about Teller giving me a tattoo?
No.
Something else you do during lockdown.
You guys are literally prison cellmates.
I did this thing called Tattoo of Blood,
Yeah.
which I did at the Harley convention, where I let a tattooist tattoo me without ink because I wanted a tattoo that would last a couple years, but not forever. And ink is a coagulant and it is a lubricant. So a tattoo without ink hurts more, and you get a red, raw, deep scratch. Now, we thought this idea was so funny that I had Tony Fitzpatrick, one of the greatest artists in the world today, do a full tattoo with my girlfriend's name in it at the time on my bicep. He did it all freehand, no stencil, with just a tattoo gun. Took about an hour and a half, bled like a Mother Hubbard, and hurt a lot. And that lasted just a little longer than the girlfriend. It was exactly successful. And I still have a little bit of white scarring, but not much. You wouldn't notice it with a tan. And then we did a bit on Conan where Teller tattooed his selected card into my flesh. And we were backstage, I forgot who it was, with whoever was on that show with us, rappers or comedians or something. We're backstage as Teller and I were trying to adjust the tattoo gun, and Teller was drilling into my leg. I rolled up my pant leg. He was drilling in to set the tattoo. And the person walking by said, "You are the craziest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life." So we had to relearn it. We're doing a new version of it. And Teller needed to tattoo onto my forearm, which it'll hurt much more than the upper arm and much more than the leg. So Teller said, "I have to practice." And I said, "Well, Teller, I was wearing, as we all know from my genital adventures, shorts with no underwear. I said, you can practice on my leg, or, I mean, there's no reason you can use your own leg. You're just testing the tools." And there was a long pause. Very long pause. And Teller said, let's use your leg because I think I will flinch too much." And I said, "Okay." And then I made the mistake of not rolling up my shorts leg further. I could have rolled it up right to the genital adventure area, but instead I let it hang down. So when I'm wearing any sort of shorts, you can see it now. And he said, "What should I do?" And I said, "Well, do a peace sign." So Delta did a peace sign into my leg. I don't know if you can see it.
For those of you who don't watch on YouTube, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Or Twitch.
You
Yeah.
don't
You
watch.
can watch live.
You definitely can't see it from the audio perspective.
Okay.
Oh, wow. There it is.
There it is.
That
There.
looks painful.
Oh, yeah. It hurt like a Mother Hubbard. It's just drilled into my flesh there. It's essentially Teller taking well, I was going to say it's like Teller taking but it's like Teller taking 5 needles and having them stick into my flesh really, really fast because that's exactly what it is.
Oh, man.
And Teller has a pretty good hand for pretty good eye for art, but he did an incredibly shitty job. Really shitty.
Yeah, tomorrow we'll have to try the other leg.
Peace doesn't stand a chance, according to Teller's omen.
And it hurt like a motherfucker. And Teller said, "I see you're not flinching." And I said, "No, I'm not." But it hurts a lot. But of course, you've seen people have tattoos across their noses and shit. So, and although ink makes it a little bit easier, not a lot.
Yeah,
Probably not even noticeable.
when Mike Tyson tattooed his face with a tribal symbol, everyone thought that he was, well, accurately thought that he was really, really crazy. But that this has somehow put him over that edge. And now facial tattoos are fairly commonplace, which I did not think would happen.
I didn't either. I thought tattoos would have gone out of fashion by the 21st century. I thought they were a 90s thing. Turns out they're a forever thing.
Tramp stamps have gone out of fashion. That part's true.
But not tramps.
No.
One of the things we're doing is what tattoo I get will be chosen by someone at random. So we had to give them 20 tattoos to choose from. So I had to choose 20 tattoos, one of which would be done in blood on my forearm right there. And we'll be there for 3 years. So I chose my children's name, a map of Newfoundland, a copy of Roger Stone's Nixon tattoo from his back, and it frightens me the awful truth of how sweet life can be.
Oh, that's a long quote. That's a long quote.
A picture of Dylan with a cigarette from Don't Look Back, a puffin from Newfoundland, and then also hot stuff, the little devil that everybody has.
Yeah.
And then I did this for you because I thought you would think this was a little funny, Matt Donnelly.
Yeah.
I had one that'll be in script, born to run / lose / whatever.
I do like
Which is
that.
the one I'm hoping we'll get.
Yeah, that's a fun one to have.
We're also having Tony design another thing for me.
If this show was more active, or even CW was more active with the social media, this is a fine challenge to put out to listeners. People's 20 tattoo challenge.
And it would just end up Tattoo McTattoo face. That's all it would end up. Now, which ones here? I got, I want to do this ad. I'm looking forward to doing this ad.
Yeah.
Let me do this ad for you now. This is a thing for Honey. This is a brand new advertiser.
It is.
Honey. And I'm excited about it because I started trying it and it's pretty crazy. These days, it feels like online shopping is the only shopping we do. It doesn't feel like that. It's all accurate. That's where today's sponsor, Honey, comes in. It's a free browser extension that scours the internet for promo codes and automatically applies the best one available at checkout. Honey is basically your online shopping best friend. Let me tell you how it works. You get Honey on your computer for free in 2 easy clicks by going to joinhoney.com/Penn. Joinhoney.com/Penn. Then when you're checking out on one of over 30,000 supported sites, Honey pops up and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds as Honey searches for coupons for that site. If Honey finds working codes, it applies the best one to your cart. It is amazing. I put Honey in, I looked around Honey, and I forgot all about it.
Yeah.
All about it. I forgot all about Honey, and then I went to buy some stuff. I believe it was even for the show. And I said to tell her, I'll just click on this. It was a tambourine or something. All of a sudden, boom, bang, boom, Honey saves me money. Now, Honey would like me to tell you how much it saved me. I don't know. I was just happy she paid the money. I just clicked it. Automatic. Boom, done. Nothing else changed. Honey has found over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings. And I want to tell you, if the $2 billion was all mine, I would have noticed that. Honey supports all kinds of retailers, from tech and gaming sites to fashion brands and even food delivery. Did you hear what I said?
Food delivery.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's simple. If you have a computer, Honey should be on it. No doubt about it. It's free and works with whatever browser you use. You get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Penn. That's joinhoney.com/Penn. It'll save you money, and there's nothing to do. It just could not be easier.
Cool.
And speaking,
Tech interruption. Godot, quit leaning into your mic. Thanks.
Okay.
and speaking of changing routines, there's a better time to learn something new. No better time ever. We're in it. There's Thousands of options available. Finding the best way to learn can be challenging. My recommendation is an app called Blinkist. It's also good if you're learning plate spinning. Blinkist is unique and powerful. It works on your phone, your tablet, or your web browser. I don't know why they aren't targeting just people who are learning plate spinning. Seems like that's where their money is. Blinkist gives you the best key takeaways, the need-to-know information from over 3,000 nonfiction bestsellers in over 27 categories. Blinkist condenses them down to blinks, which you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes. And boy, their condensation, that can't be right. Their condension, that's not right either. Their synopsises, good, are the best. They're really good. And now Blinkist offers its members even more, including exclusive original podcasts from our top authors and creative thinkers. You still get access to the entire Blinkist library with your membership. And now you also can dive deeper into full-length nonfiction audiobooks at a special discounted price. Over 14 million people use Blinkist to deepen their knowledge in topics spanning self-improvement, personal growth, management, leadership, and mindfulness, happiness, and more. I love it. I listen to all the stuff. There's great stuff like Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape, Everything is Fucked, a book about hope, Sapiens, A Brief History of Mankind. I love that book. Becoming by Michelle Obama, which Piff loves, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, The Way We Eat Now by B. Wilson, The Future of Capitalism by Paul Collier, and Hacking Darwin by Jamie Metzel, and Outgrowing God by Richard Dawkins. Right now, Blinkist has a special office just for our audience. Go to Blinkist.com/Penn to start your free 7-day trial and get 25% off a Blinkist premium membership and up to 65% off audiobooks, yours to keep forever. That's Blinkist, spelled Blinkist, Blinkist.com/Penn. To get 25% off a premium membership and a 7-day free trial. That's Blinkist.com/Penn. Yeah, well, that's a good way to do it. I'm kind of glad you didn't send me the ads ahead of time. I like doing it right into the computer. Probably looks better too.
Cool. Excellent. Hey, you know what? 16 years ago yesterday, Christopher Reeve died, and they had a big memorial thing for him this weekend. And a friend of mine mentioned that you had worked with him in Unpleasant World of Penn and Teller and wanted to hear if you could tell us a Christopher Reeve story. Just
Christopher Reeve
celebration.
Was a wonderful, wonderful guy. I just loved him. I believe I cold called him and asked him to do a trick before he was in a wheelchair, before he was had his accident.
Injured.
And we took him to the Magic Circle where he wanted to learn a trick. And to learn a trick, he had to go through a satanic ritual. And it was a really funny bit. Christopher Reeve played straight man on it, and he played it really straight.
Really straight. It was really good.
Terrific. And I loved him. And the story that I love about Christopher Reeve was my mom hated old things. She hated old people, she hated antiques, and she hated anything that she had experienced before. I've told this story before, but she had a book, which I also have, by the way, of every movie she'd ever seen. And my dad would be watching a movie from like 1940 on TV, and he would be loving it. And my mother would go into the other room. She didn't keep it in the living room. She would go into the other room. She would open her book, and she'd page through it and come back out and say, Sam, we saw that movie in 1940. And my dad would say, but I don't remember it at all. And she said, we're not watching that old thing that we've seen before. And she clicked the channel. And she would watch something new even if she hated it. So Christopher Reeve, when he was in his wheelchair, did a remake of Rear Window.
Right.
Which is a pretty hip thing to do. Right?
Yeah. Really good.
And I remember seeing Christopher Reeve at the Big Apple Circus. And he was there with his ventilator and everything. Otherwise, he would be there dead. And we were chatting a little bit. And I told Christopher Reeve this story. I said, we're doing a show, as you know, called Sin City Spectacular. And last night, it was a rerun of a show we did earlier. And I called my mother to see how she liked it. And she said, well, Penn, we've seen that. So we watched Christopher Reeves in Rear Window. It was really, really good.
That's a great story.
And he loved that. I mean, really loved it. He just laughed and laughed and laughed and said, I just love your mother. I just love your mother so much. Yeah, my mom, have I told the story of breaking the chair? That story about my mom?
I don't.
Ready, Rich? I'm counting
I don't
on
think
you.
so.
This is such a beautiful story, and it ties in with Christopher Reeve because, you know, living after you're paralyzed is a very different thing. Yeah. You become a different person. And I knew Christopher Reeve mostly after his accident and got to know him and really loved him. And my mom, of course, I knew for her, 43 years before her weird paralysis. And my mom was close to death, and she was in her
I
chair.
do know this story.
But I don't think, have we told it on the
but
air?
It's been a while.
Okay. I'll tell a little briefer. She couldn't move her arms or her legs. Her legs much. She could move her legs, but not much. It was a very weird paralysis. And my great nephew, my nephew's son, who was about 4, 5, 6 at the time, was over. And we had a chair. It was an antique Hitchcock chair, black with beautiful designs on it, that sat at a desk in our living room that no one used. My mother would occasionally sit at the desk to do a bill or two, but very rarely. And Jeremiah, who's my great nephew, began playing with the chair. And needless to say, my great nephew is gigantic. He's now 25, 26, around there. And he is my size, and he works outdoors with a chainsaw all day long. So he is buff and gigantic. But even at 5, he was big. And he was picking up this chair and treating it very roughly. And my sister and I ran over to Jeremiah and said, no, Jeremiah, that's an antique chair. That's very valuable. Get away from it. And we backed away, and my mother said, Jeremiah, smash it. Smash it to pieces. That's what I want to see. Smash that old damn chair. I don't want that old damn chair around any longer. Smash it, Jeremiah. Smash it. And my sister and I said, well, Jeremiah, I'm not sure. My mother said, shut up, both of you. Smash the chair. And Jeremiah did.
Wow.
So, after you're done explaining to Donald Trump why the Blue Man Group taking $10,000 in Central Park and hitting it with a leaf blower is beautiful, after you're done explaining to Donald Trump why the Who smashed their instruments on Ed Sullivan was beautiful, then you try to explain to that stupid, empty-hearted motherfucker why my mother having her great-grandson destroy an antique chair is beautiful and all life is about. Okay? When you get that done, he'll be out of office. Excuse me.
Is Jeremiah available for non-beautiful smashings? Like if I just need...
He's got a chainsaw. He's probably good at it.
He's the nephew we had on there, right?
No, that was his father.
Oh, his father. Yeah, that's right. Denny, right?
Yeah.
Denny's words haunt me way more often than I care to admit. But when Denny on Penn Sunday School said, well, when you make stuff idiot-proof, idiots will do it, really comes up so much more often than you think it would. Looking at the world.
Denny is a very, very wise man.
Yeah.
When Denny saw the movie The Aristocrats, my movie with 100 comedians telling the filthiest joke they can think of,
Yeah.
Denny saw that movie and said, whoa, well, we talk like that in the woods, but never indoors. So I was living this crazy life where I was at the rehearsal house. I would work all day long with Teller. Then I would exercise with Jason Garfield. By the way, I now weigh 212 pounds.
Well, you're not even a
Crazy.
teenager anymore?
No, I'm between.
Man.
When I started this lockdown, I was 265, which was down about 80 pounds from my heaviest, maybe 90 pounds. Now I'm 40 pounds down from that. Wow. Working out with Jason Garfield, who does it over FaceTime, which is the best way to exercise ever. Go to Jason Garfield, look him up, Jason Garfield Juggler. I exercise with him for about 45 minutes. And then I drive to my home where my whole family was. And I would sit and eat my supper that my wife would make me, Emily, wonderful. And I would eat my supper. And my family members would come out 20 feet away from me and sit and visit with me. That was part of the rules for working under COVID. And then I would drive home and sleep there, in an empty house. Now my wife and children have moved to Utah. Utah, putty cat, as Tweety Pie says. Utah, putty cat. You did see a putty cat. Utah, putty cat. Where Emily's working on an online entertainment thing, and the children living there doing school. So they moved out of the house, and right after I moved in. So now I'm in my own house, but it's empty. A house is not a home. And we live here for 3 days, and then we go into the Rio for 8 days, 9 days, and that is a total and complete lockdown. I am in prison. My prison is a 3-floor suite at a luxury hotel. But I will be there. Now, here's what I want to say to you, Matt Donnelly.
Yes.
Teller and I were saying, we don't have anyone watching us on the magic. We have no one watching us on the magic and making sure these bits are really clean and good on camera. The producers watch the overall bit. We need someone burning us. And we said, well, can we bring Mac King in? Oh, we asked if Mike Close was going to be here. He's the judge. Don't fool us. And he's doing it all remotely. So, geez, we'd like someone here. And we said, how about Mac King, bringing Mac King in? And Mac King's in, away and can't do it. How about Handsome Jack from LA? Well, that would work. And then Teller said, wait a minute. Matt Donnelly is locked down with us. He has a really good eye for magic and a really good eye for comedy. He'll be terrific to work with, and he's locked down anyway.
Yeah.
We've got Matt Donnelly, right? And then we asked Glenn, Matt Donnelly's there, right? And they said, yes. Matt Donnelly just got his test, and then he went for election training. And Teller said, so he's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking idiot. So we've got a fucking idiot who we're going to have watch our magic stuff. Now, Matt Donnelly, you got tested. You promised the production you would stay safe.
Yeah.
Then you went indoors in a room full of people. Is that what you did?
Yes. I got tested after I went in a room full of people, but yes.
Okay.
They promised the training would be fully masked. I was walked in contact free. All the tables were more than 6 feet apart, and we had alcohol wipes to wipe down everything before and afterward. But it was my first time in a closed room with strangers, so that felt weird to me. It was still outside the 4-day window of me going into the bubble, so I thought
I see.
I could still. I know I have to test 2 more times before I get into the bubble, so I still felt okay about that. It was definitely a conflictive thing in that, like, I was very eager to sign up to be a boots on the ground person for Nevada for the
Now
election.
you are going to have a fully automatic weapon and a Proud Boy T-shirt,
Yes.
and a Trump flag as you watch the polls. Is that right?
My semi-automatic weapon kind of clashes with my my Proud Boy outfit that I had planned, so I'm just going to bring a sawed-off shotgun.
Okay. No, really, what kind of election stuff are you doing?
So I will be working the full shift. I'll be there from 5:30 a.m. until the polls close, and we can pack everything up, possibly a 14-hour day. They're expecting a lot of turnout, so they recruited a lot of people. And I learned how all of the election equipment works, how to replace
But you
it.
can vote early, and you can vote early in Nevada.
You can absolutely do that. In fact, I will, because I don't know whether the on my shift whether they'll actually be rotating us in to vote. I think that might be like a weird thing to ask. So I'm voting ahead of time, but there's still.
Well, I've decided because of the craziness of the president, the madness of King George, I've decided that I'm not going to mail in my ballot. I'm going to go in person.
Right. And I think a lot of people are feeling that way. And
I'm going to go right after we wrap the 23rd on Fool Us, and I will go the next day.
To drop off at the drop-off center, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm going to go and vote. You can vote then, right? When do the centers open?
October 17th
Yeah.
in Nevada.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll go vote in person, but before November 3rd.
Okay, cool.
I think
I can do that, right?
There's also a spot where you can drop off your mail-in ballot so it doesn't get mailed.
I don't want to do that. I want to just do it myself.
All right.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, but I have to double check this, but I believe you can either drop off your mail-in ballot or you can vote in person on election day. But I don't know if they're doing all the early voting election stations they used to do pre-COVID-19.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's my understanding of it, but I definitely could be wrong. But that was what I understood. Huh. And the training was also about a breakdown of like the laws of what you can and can't do at a voting booth and how you can and can't help someone at a voting booth and stuff. And so
here, let me help you vote against Trump.
Yeah, you can't come over and look at their screen. You have to stay on the far side of them. Other people, you got to stop other people from trying to help other people. No one's allowed to take selfies with themselves.
Will you be at war with the Proud Boys?
I mean, I definitely thought I wanted to be a reliable person on the ground for any type of interference. They definitely warned us that
being a reliable person. Maybe you should have thought about that when you were born.
That's true. I should have thought about that. That it's going to be observed. That there might be lawyers from many sides and causes to try to make sure that everything's going fairly. And I also want to observe what the protocols were for the election, which was neat too. But they do a lot of over precautious procedures to make sure that every vote is secure and counts, and it's great.
Good.
Sounds good.
Well, I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad that there is a responsible person paying attention.
Although, if you and Teller had called me before I went in, I would have been like, "No, I'm not poll working. See you later. I gotta help Penn and Teller." So I feel dumb about that for sure.
I think you probably still will, but we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I am still testing Monday morning, and it is an instant test at the Rio. So I will have the results Monday morning. And that training was Thursday. So
Well, you were very helpful on placebo, and you were very helpful on a few of the other things we did last season. So,
Oh, thanks. I loved it. So yeah, I'd love to do it.
be helpful again.
Yeah.
Be helpful again.
Yeah.
I want to read a letter we got from somebody, primary care provider Michael Kaplan. I want to read this because it made me feel good. Why the fuck are you apologizing for the health
good start.
of people on Fool Us? What you are doing is exactly what you should be doing. There is not a single thing you could cut out and still be safe. It is infuriating to hear you apologize for being too careful, as it diminishes the risk that is very real. You have nothing to apologize for except for thinking you are overdoing it.
That's a nice thing.
Thank
to
you,
say.
Michael. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a very nice thing to say. And it's very nice and it's very true. And I really should not be undercutting the message. You really should be very, very safe. I was reading a novel. I use an expression, crazier than a shithouse rat. You've heard me use that expression.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's in my books. I love it. Crazier than a shithouse rat. Now, you know, when I read books, I highlight passages and I do book reports. I'm reading a very long book now, which is why you haven't gotten a book report in a while. I forgot what the author was. I should really credit this, but I've forgotten. But there was an expression that I said, I like that better than crazier than a shithouse rat.
Can we guess? Can we guess?
Yes.
I heard one this week that I thought was great. It's higher than a giraffe's ass.
I've heard that before.
I hadn't heard that one. I really like that.
I needed crazier than.
Okay.
Matt Donnelly, crazier than.
Oh, I don't know if I have a crazier than
What's your go-to for crazier than?
batshit crazy.
Ready, Rich?
2 degrees to the right of Westboro Baptist Church.
I've sometimes said, on a scale of 1 to 10, really fucking crazy. But this one kind of takes the cake. Crazier than a pet raccoon.
Funny you should mention raccoons.
Not funny. I'm the king of segue.
Well,
How crazy is the pet raccoon?
let me
Vidal?
tell you how crazy raccoons are. My dog and I were driving back from visiting
Your
my
dog was driving?
My dog is driving. We've been in the car that long. The dog and I have stopped to camp, and in the middle of Oregon, and we're in a very an empty campground, almost nobody there, and in a very private spot, and it's kind of late at night, and I decided, I'm going to take the dog and I'm going to walk to the bathroom. So I usually put a harness on the dog, but I just put a collar on. The dog has a collar on. And so I just clipped the leash to the collar and got out. And I didn't have a good flashlight with me, so I was using the iPhone flashlight, which is, it's just not that good. It's just dog.
But it's better than no flashlight.
It's so good compared to no flashlight.
If you lose your keys,
It is great.
if you lose your keys in a Penn Gillette genital accident,
yeah. If you are within 3 feet of what you're looking for, you are fantastic. So the dog and I go to the bathroom, and we're coming back to the car and through the dark, through the brush with this little iPhone flashlight, and out from under my car, a raccoon leaps out screaming and tries to grab me and the dog. And we can't see it because it's the iPhone flashlight. All we see is, ah! And the dog screams and jump back, and I scream and jump back. And because the dog's on the collar, the dog pulls out of the collar and runs off into the darkness.
Oh,
And there's nobody at this campground. And the raccoon is...
are you alone?
I'm alone.
Camping?
Yeah. And the raccoon runs the other way. And this is my daughter's beloved dog, and it has vanished into the night. And all I have is this stupid little flashlight that shoots a foot. And I'm just sitting in the middle of the road crying and calling the dog for 5-6 minutes, and finally the
And
dog just comes.
Writing
Go
tall
ahead.
tales that you'll tell
Yeah,
your daughter
yeah,
about the
yeah.
bear that ate your.
Yeah, how am I going to explain this one? So finally, the dog comes back, and the dog is fine. The dog is missing a tuft of hair. The raccoon got a mouthful of dog fur,
Oh,
but no, no puncture wounds, no damage to the dog. But just an awful, a rough camping adventure.
Could I repeat? Crazier than a pet raccoon.
Crazier. This one was crazier than a pet raccoon. This was a angry raccoon. And then the next night we stayed at my sister's house. My sister lives up in Sonoma.
Penn's allergic to Guido's sister.
Yeah. And she's on Tenter, not Tinder, Tenter. Although combining those two would be great. The Tinder would be meeting somebody in the woods. Yeah, that'd be good.
Be someone in the woods, fuck him in a tent.
It seems great. It's a perfect combo.
For you. Tinder for a seasoner is what I would like.
She's got this new tender thing in her yard, and she says, you are welcome to come and visit us. Obviously I can't go into the house. My mom is, immunocompromised, and so I can't go anywhere near her. But I wanted to say hi to her. I hadn't seen her at all, so I decided I would.
There's a restraining order.
Yeah, this is a restraining order. I got to stay 100 feet away, and that's what I did. But so I went to her tenter site, which is new. It's only a few weeks old, and with the dog and I go and check.
People can rent it.
What's that?
People can rent it.
Yeah, you can just rent it. Yeah, and it's like glamping. It's it's up on a platform, and it's got a queen size bed and big heavy duty canvas tent. And
What do you do about bathroom?
there's an outdoor like a composting toilet. Which at first glance looks like a regular toilet, except wooden.
Can't fool me.
And there are no pipes at the bottom. It's just a box. The dog and I check in. It's 10 o'clock at night. We get in there. We zip up the tent. We go.
Has she had a lot of people rent this?
What's that?
Has she had a lot of people rent this?
Yeah, it's actually it's brand new, and people have really loved it. And the first people in wrote good reviews, and a bunch of people have been in.
Well, if they want to go to Tenter and sleep,
find it. Yeah, she's at the name of it is the Lily Pad, is the name of her spot, and it's in Sonoma.
Well, we can advertise that. Sonoma, the Lily Pad, if you want to Tenter.
Tenter with my family. Stay away from my mom, okay?
You yearn for wooden toilets.
Yeah. My advice before you go, though, is to know that it is a very, very wild place. My dad has the land next door to my sister, and he has done everything he can to make his yard animal friendly. And so in between my sister and my dad's yard, there are bobcats, there are foxes, there are river otters, hawks, and possums, and every animal imaginable lives in this little 10-acre spot. And it turns out that we're the first. I have the first dog to spend the night in the Tenter cabin, and all of the wild animals are very, very angry about a dog spending the night in their area. And so, at 2 and 3 in the morning, there is either foxes are yelling at us to get out of the neighborhood. They're standing outside of the tent going, ah! And then later on in the night, there are bobcats outside of the tent going.
So remember, if you want to go to hell, Sonoma, Tenter.
Do not leave your dog outside or unleashed at night. I think they would be a snack.
Oh my gosh!
So yeah,
just for the river otters alone. They'll
Yeah.
tear it apart.
So yeah, 2 nights in a row. First night the raccoon bites the dog. Second night we're huddled together with bobcats shouting at us.
Oh my gosh.
That was my drive home from Seattle. So it was another exciting trip. Yeah, very nice. I also at one point got to call 911 on a drunk driver, and I have never done that, and that just felt awful.
What'd you do?
Well, I had to call. I mean, it called 911 and said the car in front of me is drunk. Here's his license plate, and here's where he's going, and here's where his car looks like. And the great part is 911 saying, "Do not try to pull him over. Do not chase him. Don't." Apparently, people do that. And
911 knew you?
yeah, they knew me. Exactly. Do not pull this guy over. Do not leap across to his car.
Your former ambitions of wanting to be a park ranger do not entitle you to citizen's arrest.
Yeah,
And you kept a good distance from
I kept a
him, right?
very good distance from him.
Did they tell you location on the 911 call from yourself?
They did not. They could not. They asked me where I was. I gave them the street and mileage.
I don't know where the fuck I am.
That's the great thing about GPS, baby. On the map, you could tell them right. I am on this highway at this intersection, going this way.
I'm sorry
And
to
the
waste
guy
your time, officers. It turns out I was looking in the mirror, and I am the drunk driver. Crisis averted.
This guy had a kid's bike on the roof of his car on a car rack.
Oh no!
And was driving so erratically that the kid's bike like flopped off and was held on by just the front tire and banging onto the side of his car.
Oh boy!
This is really drunk. This guy was really drunk.
Oh.
So yeah, it was horrifying.
So did you stay with him until the police came, or you just gave coordinates?
No, I gave coordinates, told him where we were going, and then for 10 more minutes I was behind him, and then he took a left and get off into his own world. I guess I don't know. The police didn't. Like I said, they told me not to follow him, so I let him go. But hopefully they caught him. He was very, very drunk.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Super scary.
he was probably depressed because his tenter date didn't work out, so he just got hammered. Just started throwing it down.
Yeah, he had a date with a raccoon.
so he was higher than a giraffe's ass.
Higher than a giraffe's ass.
You know,
We have a show title.
I'm still doing. No, we're gonna use Crazier than a pet raccoon.
Okay, all right.
Or Penn's Genital Adventures.
I was gonna say it's got to be Penn's Genital Adventures.
But I heard the higher than a giraffe's ass referring to Trump specifically, which I really liked.
You know, I'm telling you, I'm still doing these cameos.
Yeah.
Cameo.com. Cameo.com.
Yeah.
I'll just say anything. And people are getting very, very surreal. I had one that was so full of abbreviations, I couldn't tell what the words were. And I just kind of went through it and then got 5 stars. Perfect. I do in jokes for people. I'm doing poems for people's pets. It's a great thing. So if you want me to say anything on video, go to Cameo. You don't need deep fakes with me. Don't bother with the software. Just say, Penn, say shame about World War II, and I'll just say it.
Well, it's funny. You're foreshadowing. Next episode, we will get into some Penn deep fake technology.
We will.
Episode, yeah.
Well, that was pretty great. But for right now, I will say that was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha.
And to our listening ears, all nature sang and round us rang the music of the spheres. That was Penn Sunday School.
Are you done camping for now, Bill? That hits me like this.
That was Penn Sunday School.
And are there bugs to it, Lily Pad?
A few bugs with the lily pad.
That was Penn Sunday School.
There were too many bugs for me at the vice presidential debates.